Alicia, welcome to Right Fucking Now.
Right fucking
Now?
now.
Thanks for being the first guest / alternative person and perspective.
Thank you.
Yeah.
Thank you. I have some really big shoes to fill. I want to say thank you to Karen, who's open to having other guest hosts. So here we are.
Karen's an open host, you know?
She's totally an open host.
So I have a very exciting jumping off point for today, if you're willing to join me. And it's inspired by the Joshua channeling that we were just listening to a few minutes ago. I've seen this before, but I was seeing more clearly for the first time. There's basically two simultaneous things going on here in my reality in terms of consciously creating my own reality. The first I was seeing was more of the Abraham-esque perspective. It's all about focus and what you're giving your awareness to. And just like Dr. Joe and Bashar, in your meditations, you can use your imagination, focus, get the emotions going, attract the experience back to you. What I was seeing during the Joshua channeling really clearly was the second and equally important leg of this is recognizing the beliefs, or as Joe would say, the personality elements that are restricting what I'm imagining and calling forth from actually coming into my reality, right? If what I've been focusing on isn't coming, it must be because I'm not completely aligned to it. And if I'm not completely aligned to it, it's because my personality, my thoughts, emotions, and actions are not truly deeply aligned with it. And it's in the discovery of those beliefs and in the changing of those beliefs that then my imagination and my focus can become more powerful.
I love it. One of the things I think about a lot with this question, though, of understanding whether it's beliefs or those personality traits or identity that does limit us, is actually being able to find it and point at it and say, this is a thing. This is a thing that I like to think about, this idea of that came from the old rules of the game, right? I know for me, my spiritual journey has only been 4 years in the making, but that means I had a few decades of playing, this game of life with a rule book that wasn't, I guess, we'll call it a limited rule book, right? And so now that I have broader perspective, understanding of what this 3D reality is, I'm learning this new rule book. And in this process, I am uncovering beliefs, but it's those ones that I at least sometimes struggle to even be like, wait, this is part of that old rule book, right? It's those ones that become a little evasive that are the most insidious. So what do you do to find those deeply buried beliefs?
What I was hearing Joshua say and then getting the memory to validate was that the manifestation events, i.e. the circumstances I'm living all day, every day, are those opportunities to find the beliefs. And the experiences or circumstances that trigger the greatest degree of negative emotion are the actual gifts and are the clay that I need to work with and transmute. And I love that you use that term rule book, because that's what the out of alignment beliefs are. That's what's triggering the negative emotion. It's rules or a set of limiting thought or belief structures that my inner being or source or whatever you want to call it is saying, holding on to this is limiting you. You're an unlimited being. And in this journey towards less and less limitation, it would be the only place to go.
Yep. Yeah. And I think you called that key thing. That we all know, right? Like we've heard about, we learn about, it's our feelings, right? That's that guidance system that we have, that superpower, right? As we become more aware of our emotions, right? We increase that sensitivity. We therefore are enhancing that superpower around that guidance system. So, yeah, thanks for reminding me. It all comes back to the emotions, the feeling, and the experience that we're having in that moment. The other thing that I love that Joshua talked about earlier in the podcast, and we can include a link to this specific podcast episode that we're referring to. He was, talking about that idea, and Abraham talks about it too, of not being able to access the solution when you're within the problem, right? And he kind of went on a little bit of a riff about the thoughts that we attract, right? And those thoughts that we're receiving in the moment are yet another indicator. So beyond just the emotion being, I guess, like self-reflective of those thoughts, right? If we're kind of feeling a little weird about our emotion, like, wait, what is this I'm feeling? Even just tuning into, wait, what are the thoughts I'm receiving is another indicator of belief or non-belief, or expanding belief or restricting belief.
Yeah, I've been seeing this very clearly lately. There's essentially no difference between a thought and a physical experience. They're both focus starting to materialize. A thought is maybe an incipient or early stage of focus, and a circumstance or actual 3D experience is the culmination of that thought focus. But they're basically the same thing. They're flowed focus. And the more it's continued, whether in thought or whether it's focused upon in physical manifestation, the more of it and the more proof you're going to get validating that is true. So yeah, if you can catch it early on while it's still a thought, because our superpower is emotional sensitivity, and be like, that thought hurts, that's the time to stop and do a manifestation form, look at it, ask, what do I have to believe is true to be feeling this? And then one of the most empowering beliefs, recognize I have the power to change this. Maybe there's too much momentum in the moment to change it right here and now, but I can see it. And in the illusion of time, I have the power to change this.
I love that. So you brought up a thing, and it reminds me of something I've been processing or munching on the past few days, right? In that idea of, by the time that vibration, that thought, that feeling has manifested into an actual experience, right? We clearly have a certain amount of momentum going. So I kind of have a silly example of some momentum I've had going, which is I have 2 dogs, and over the past few days, they have been perpetually tracking in mud, causing other messes on my floor. And as I'm like literally cleaning up for the 3rd or 4th or 5th time, some sort of mess on the floor, I'm like, wow, I really have a momentum going. And yet, I haven't quite identified where that momentum has come from, what the original source was it. So curious, what's your experience in kind of uprooting those things that could be at the source of our momentum?
Yeah, it's a great example to work with because it's silly enough, but really powerful. Everything's a powerful manifestation experience. So the game I was playing previously was more of the Abraham game. Be like, I'm just going to shift my focus off of this and start pivoting and imagining what I do prefer. Clean floors, happy dogs coming in, this and that. I played that game for a while, and now I'm drawing more power from more of the Joshua perspective by stopping and saying, what's the belief here that's triggering the negative emotion before I even try and pivot? And what's just coming to mind immediately for me is the belief that probably time limitation. I have something else I'm supposed to be doing right now other than wiping up the floor. Maybe a limitation in terms of what should be happening. Like, I should be on TV with Oprah right now, not wiping down a floor. And that may be true, but in recognizing the belief that you're resisting what's happening in time, what's happening in what you're doing, what you resist persists. So being okay with, this happened. I see the belief that I think I'm supposed to be somewhere else. This is the most important place for me to be right now. This is the most important thing for me to be doing. I can find enjoyment in this. I'm alive. Everything's going to change. Uncovering all those beliefs. And by seeing them all of a sudden, the pivot becomes naturally very easy. And I can be like, pretty soon I'm going to be on Oprah instead of wiping my floor, and someone else is going to wipe the floor for me whose greatest excitement is to wipe the floor. And observing and transmuting the belief as like the entrance ramp to the highway of pivoting. If I just try and pivot hard in the moment, it doesn't happen. What do you think of that?
I like that. And, I've been playing with it in the sense of like, as I am sitting there wiping up the floor, I'm like, wow, I got a momentum going. I do remind myself, right, this is happening for me, not to me. And in this very moment, right fucking now, I can see that was happening for me so that I would have this example in our conversation. And, you know, forget Oprah. I'm on Right Fucking Now with you. So that's way cooler.
Alicia. Great Right Fucking Now reference too.
Thank you.
Got to give a shout out on props on that. Yeah. I love Joshua's constant repeating of the concept. Everything is perfect right now. Every particle in the universe is perfect right now. Acknowledging it might not be as I think I prefer it to be, but I know it's absolutely perfect right now. It's happening for me to unearth the beliefs, to hone in on my focus. And just that perspective alone is such soothing and such empowerment, and always pointing towards what feels emotionally better.
Yeah, like he said, the first line of his first book, Perception of Reality, is there is nothing wrong in the universe. Everything is perfect, right? And it's been for me a fundamental shift in that playbook of life, and it softens everything. Those things that used to sting, those things that used to hurt, right? And it's like, no, this is perfect right here, right fucking now.
And the real pink elephant in the room where we're at right now is the overarching concept that everyone we're both into suggests as really the core of reality, is understanding reality is nothing more than a reflection. It's a mirror. It's me projecting and then me perceiving and everyone else having the exact same experience. So with that overall mirror concept as the core of everything, it becomes so obvious from a physics or a logic or a mechanical standpoint to understand, as soon as I decide everything is perfect in this moment, everything is happening for me, you're shooting out into the mirror that vibration. Everything is perfect now. And then the reality has to shift back to reflect that. And then the ultimate paradox is you truly don't care what the reality reflects back, because you're really honestly recognizing in every moment reality is perfect. And there's so many tools and techniques that all these teachers are offering, all these permission slips to playing with your focus to truly get the emotional feedback of the recognition that I'm seeing everything as absolutely perfect in this moment.
I love that. You know, the other thing that came up briefly in that episode was that idea, playing on this reality as a mirror, right? God is a mirror. Was that idea that we can't even enter into the same room if somebody is not, you know, vibrationally within range. And so I also love that idea, you know, of not just like the physical manifestation of me cleaning up the dog paw prints, right? But that evening having friends come over for an awesome book club, right? That is also an indicator of my vibrational standpoint. And so I love that idea of looking at all of these elements, you know, thoughts, feelings, belief, and physical manifestation in all sorts of different ways as that indicator. So.
Yeah. And part of the trick in that too, recognizing people who aren't at my vibration can't even come into my experience. Sometimes I'll be what I perceive to be feeling really good and flying high. And then I'll have a manifestation of event of a person who's focusing in on negative, or an experience that I'm like, there's paw prints all over my floor. This can't possibly align with the emotional state of being I'm in. And then that's where like the step 2 I was talking about comes in. It must be my perception and my belief system behind it. And I could take an example, like some people I've met who are total free spirits, like the classic like California surfer dude, like, yeah, man, or whatever. If I embody that vibration, I would actually find little paw prints on my floor cute as fuck. I would be like, oh my God. Sometimes, or several times lately, I've been looking at cement sidewalks and finding little paw prints, like some cat or dog walked through the cement while it was still drying and left their paw print. From one perspective, you could say, this is imperfect. The cement should be smooth. From another perspective, I can say, I love animals. I love dogs and cats. This is the cutest little artistic addition to this sidewalk, and it's actually eliciting positive emotions. It's the same physical manifestation, but it's two different perspectives. And I have the power to choose that perspective in every moment. Even this morning, actually, I was focusing to clean my condo for some people coming to look at it. And I was getting negative emotion, and I stopped for a minute and I realized not only am I choosing limited time consciousness, being like, I gotta get it all done, but then I was realizing a new perspective. You know what? I'm gonna do the best I can. If someone like cares to judge a place on all these little specks of dust that may be outside or whatever, like it's just really not that big of a deal. I'm gonna do the best I can, let it go, and whatever someone else chooses to perceive as a result of that is on them.
Yeah, I love that. Well, on that note, with this time consciousness,
Yes.
I'm feeling pretty satisfied. How are you feeling?
Outstanding, yeah.
Yeah.
Thanks.
So thank you so much for having me as a guest host. Thank you again, Karen, for letting me fill your big shoes for today. And not that you have big feet. I'm not saying that at all, but very cute feet. Little paw print feet.
And as always, it's right
Fucking.
now.
Woo!
Fist bump.
Peace.
Bye.